Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM22 Dragons Episode 7. And we're into the dossiers. We're going to be on to the tour of Norway shortly. But I wanted to talk you through one aspect of this. For one thing, I've got guys that are at 100% that I'm interested in. And for the moment, at least, I'm not adding them because we finally have something brewing that changes the game a little bit. But I think we're in terms of, like, say, a witch's brew, we're talking about like a little spell casting happening at the bottom, like our mixture, our alchemy is we're beginner level on this process. But here's what I'm kind of getting into. I've got four key guys that I definitely want to get into that didn't have a 100% eval, so I've got them clued in, and at least for the moment, and I'm feeling an ounce of regret, and I may actually undo this because I can still undo this for free right now. Once I confirm dossiers, I'm kind of screwed on this, and here's where I'm at and why. The lowest current ability Kazakhstan rider, period, that is available out there, the only 2-star guy, even he doesn't have a full vested interest in joining our team. And here's why. Kazakhstan is a higher profile nation, period, between Astana and their development team and another Kazakhstani team. So between essentially three teams, Kazakhstan's a busy, buzzing bee. It's like the anomaly of all of Asia, right? It's the only one with a training structure of 5, where everybody else has 3 and below. It's the only one that also mixes in a decent amount of popularity, though it's not huge. And so with only a decent amount of popularity, but 3 teams, it's hard to find riders that are open and available. But you do find guys with expiring contracts, but the profile is just better. I mean, looking at this list, there's literally one guy. You can't see it behind me with the face cam, but the one that's current lowest is the only 100% eval in all of Kazakhstan. Now, 76.99 through that next wave, not bad. You get up a little bit higher, you get up to the 3.5 star guys, and there isn't a lot of interest. They are low yellow. They're 30 to a couple at the 75%. But you get a little higher, and we're talking red. And then there is Lutsenko. Lutsenko now 31 with an expiring contract, and he's got 0 interest. He's in that 0 to 15 range. And then it's 40 points. 40 points to open a dossier on him. We have progressed enough to the stage that a guy with a world reputation like Lutsenko is almost kind of sort of barely achievable. We only get 60 dossier points. We only start with 30. At the moment I've used 10. So that means we would need 20 additional dossier points. Now, in each half-month period going forward, we pick up 6 more. So 6, 12, 18 through 3 periods, which would get you, middle of May, each of the 2 June ones. So it would be July 1st when we would be picking up. But that leaves us 2 points short. 2 points short for the 1st of July. Now, the last period, of course, is middle of July. From a 0-15, the only guarantee to get into yellow, there's no chance of hitting green with Lutsenko. 0 chance. He's a guy who is making 25K on his current contract. At 31, it's probably not going up. Even though it says he's got slightly more potential, he's pretty much maxed out. And let's just call it what it is. He is a 4.5 star all-arounder. Does a bit of everything. He's a good rider. He's a known rider. He's a popular rider. but it doesn't quite excel at anything. He's just good. 78 mountains, 78 hills for us would be a fantastic addition, obviously, but he's not necessarily better. I have 2 4.5-star guys right now that cost us significantly less. If I cancel one dossier at the beginning of July, we could open a dossier on Lutsenko, and between the mid-July and into... Wait, do I even get one for August 1st? Improvement? Yes. With 2 sets of improvements, it's pretty much guaranteed that we could push a 0 up to, plus 15%. Maybe. Actually, it's not even guaranteed, is it? He could hit 5% at a time and only see 10. So there's a decent chance that we could just inch him into yellow, which means he'd have to sign for a lot more money than expected. His expected is already pushing 25K. And my finances are in a scary place right now. We didn't spend every dollar we had, but when you add in the staff, we were right at 100K per month spending when we started the season. But of course, when we started the season, I added the development team. 10K in salaries, 10K in operations cost. So now we're at 120K in expenses. We only bring in 85 a month through the sponsor. There's a huge shortfall, and we're a continental team. We're not bringing in loads of cash. It's very small portions. Push, 90K, 95K. We're losing close to 30 a month. Per month. We only have 250K. We got to get through this year. Yes, we get a little bump in December of cash, but we have a shortfall right now. We definitely have a budget shortfall that's not going to suddenly resolve itself. Especially because we were sticking with our sponsor for another year. So entering year 3 still with the same Air Canada or Air China sponsor. It's only going to roll up to 99K for next year. So it's only going up 14K. We can't afford Lutsenko. We only have 2 expiring contracts. It's going to save us 5,000 with an increase of 14K and clearly not having enough to spend. We're not signing Lutsenko. Building him towards, liking us is one thing, but he's going to sign a deal with somebody else. It's not going to be us. Maybe he stays with Astana. Probably would. He's 31. I don't think we're going to be seeing him retire. But is it a 1-year deal, a 2-year deal, a 3-year deal? I don't know. Is he done at 34 if it's a 3-year deal? Maybe. This is our only window to sign him, and I just don't see it happening at this stage because of that 20K that we've thrown in on our development team. That's 8 riders worth of salary. We get 10 guys out of it, but it was maybe a year soon to do it. And either way, if we hadn't done it, I think we can probably get Lutsenko in the coming year, but now we're going to have to go without. But like I said, he's really not that big of an upgrade for us at this stage. I mean, he is an upgrade, don't get me wrong. But considering the couple of guys I have, and the fact that they are 4.5-star, and the potential that I have in some other riders, I'm not going to get an all-arounder. I'm not going to get a Lutsenko out of anybody else right now. But being that he's already in his 30s, and what he would cost us, eventually that kind of rider and that kind of money is not going to be an issue. Right now it is. So by ruling out Lutsenko, this is the entirety of my dossiers. I'm actually done with them for the year. I have nobody else that I'm interested in that's out there that would have an impact, that would be helpful to the team. And already most of these guys have kind of whittled down who it is I want to sign. And we should be easily signing, as long as they don't level up crazy in the next couple of months, should be easily signing each of the ones we do end up opting for, and do so for a minimum. But realistically, just because of where the budget's at, I'm probably looking at only signing maybe 6 guys this year because I've got the 2 expiring contracts. So that's 2 signings. And then if you add 4 more on top of that, we're talking about an increase of 10K. But budget wise, we're looking at an increase of 14K unless we change sponsors. But even then, you're looking at maybe 16K or 18K, not anything significantly higher. But an extra 4 to 8 thousand a month takes our deficit from 20K down to 15, or maybe down to 12 or 10. But if we in fact have enough to break into Continental Pro, we'll have some higher profile races, and that means we're going to make some more money. And if we're making more money, then we can cover off that debt a bit easier, cut that down to 8K or 5K, or maybe even break even some months, which means with a small deficit, the December accounting can make up for that shortfall, as long as we still have something going. We'll see how things. June could be a good month for us, that we can make up a decent amount because those national championships, you win a few of those, and it'll pay out decently. We've already won one of those, an early one in April, and it's already pushed our sponsor confidence up to 100. And we continue on with our season with my second objective, the second high profile race of 4 that we're going to face off with. But we're already on stage 5 out of 6 as the first 4 stages of the Tour of Norway were all sprint stages. And so now that we hit stage number 5, this is classified punchy, even though it does look a bit more like a sprint stage than a punchy stage. I have prepared heavily for this race with an expected race day condition net of the team as a plus 26. Let's see, where did we actually end up? I could tell we definitely didn't reach plus 26 because I don't expect to actually hit it because of the way the game works. The cap is plus 5, and Lou, who was expected to have a plus 5, if he draws a plus 3 for the day, you don't see it because he still only gets a plus 5. And so then when somebody else draws a minus 1 compared to their expected plus 5, you see that. So a plus 26 is never going to actually be a plus 26, but you should have a net of somewhere around a plus 22. Let's see if that is the case with 7 riders up the road after that first climb. Not quite coming together yet, but they will soon enough, and they look to have, for the moment, about 2.5 minutes over the pack. And sure enough, it is a plus 23. So Mispa with a minus 3. Unfortunate for him. That'll rule him out of any role besides being the domestique of the day. Who to protect, who to go for. It's all open for now, I think, unless you have a couple guys, well, like Mispa. Yamamoto as the best climber and possibly the best puncher. That's one obvious pick, so we'll go ahead and protect him. And like I said, Lutsenko, even though he is definitely decent, has a nice race day condition as the field splits temporarily. I'm sure that's going to come back together in a moment. In fact, we're chasing those 7 as if we have a beef to pick with these guys. Bagarov still hadn't made it forward, and he's in the group that's been split off behind. If they don't make it back up, that's fine by me. But suddenly, my 6 guys lose contact. I was trying to up their effort, but it naturally selected Mispa. I went back to check on Bagarov real quick, and we get split off from the front group. So, okay, Bagarov makes it up here finally. He's got a 76-76 and is one of the ones still in contention. I do care about the contention part because what we're looking for is an overall race win, not a stage win. A stage win by itself does not raise the team profile. It'll raise the rider profile by a little bit, but it's that claiming the overall victory, which would be our only chance. Now, Lee has a good setup, so Haas, maybe I'll just start calling him Haas. Easier to say. Too many syllables in that name. Lou is in a good position at a very strong climber with that plus 5, and he's definitely on the expected plus 5 crew. go ahead and take Lahav to protect. And there's your 3 leaders, with Bagarov being guy number 4. This front group is all back together, but they are still chasing, the peloton, that small breakaway from the peloton that we had a bunch of guys be a part of momentarily and then come back together, as there was a definite crash there. We're still chasing those 7, and the gap's now down to 1:14. So they are going wild today. 126K to go. And if they continue to go wild, that actually could be a good thing for us, because of that, that +5 that a lot of these guys have mean the wear and tear on everybody else is going to be more severe than it will be on us. And you can see groups getting dropped, not just the 11 that were in the crash, or among riders who decided to go back and help them, though they have regained contact, but you can still see the effort. The effort is very high. Those front 7 are not going to last very long like this. And you see Mispa and Lahav are already, and Haas are all already on that verge of getting dropped. So those domestiques are getting used up quick, and I have a feeling this peloton is going to start getting smaller, and it's already beginning. We're down to 113 riders. Front group is breaking up, but it's also back out to 220. So that means the peloton is not pushing quite as hard anymore, but it's pushing just hard enough for those who didn't have energy remaining. But you see, like, Mispa is still right on the edge. He is kind of hovering around, hanging in there. So just enough pace right now to see very minimal recovery. We are starting to see some, though. Like, Lahav is getting better, Haas is getting better, and Mispa is recovering. Now they've sat up. Now that there's 4 at the front instead of 7, apparently somebody decided they are happy and content. 82K to go. We're going to need to have somebody get water soon. Not Mispa, as I don't think he would succeed in that task, but one of the other domestiques, or Bagarov, as kind of the free man who's not one of the 3 leaders, but not having to play that role of domestique. He's got plenty of energy, and we will probably do so here in a moment. As we approach the top of this climb, we'll do it about 1.5K to go, so that he can make his drop rather quickly. There you go. Front 4 still struggling. Now it's down to a front 3 that was attacking through the sprint point, but it looks like the 4th man is dropped. His gap is growing. He's not recovering. It's a minute, and I think even the front 3 are going to be pretty wasted by this point. They're not going to have much left in the tank. Mispa, you can see, has never recovered, but Haas and they have managed to recover. So Mispa is dropping back. He was protecting Yamamoto. Let's go ahead and get Bagarov on that task, and Mispa, just put him on auto. He's done. He's toast. Alright, there's not a lot of climbing left to do. That's the only downside of the profile here. I like that we've had an intense day, because you could see the wear and tear on a lot of the riders, but our guys are still looking pretty dang good with 43K to go. It's yo-yoing, but we were down to 90 riders a moment ago. Seeing that separation, seeing that breakup, seeing a peloton that is struggling to keep up, as one by one riders are falling off right now. We're down to 112. This is one of the last chances right here. This Cat 3 climb. Do we want to? Let's look at the profile towards the end. There are little hills along the way, steep little ones. It's the Cat 4 that's going to be the more damaging, and that's 10K later. So we'd be setting up a train at about 22, 23K out. I think that might be a better way to go. I don't know how we're going to win a sprint, though. I really don't know how we win a sprint here. Let's take a moment. For one, I'm already down to 6 guys, right, with Mispa being done. And the peloton's getting smaller. Mispa, the latest, actually, who's out the back. Nobody's pushing right now. Nobody's pushing. Maybe we need to start earlier, because this is going to allow for recovery. And recovery means there's going to be more guys around to create problems. Yamamoto, can you sprint? Can anybody sprint? We do not need our gel yet, but we're gonna start pushing earlier than expected, but that's because there was no pace. And that immediately splits it off into a peloton of just 22. Now we can gel up for Le Havre. He's going to be on the flat here. There's the front three now, and we've nearly caught past them, and that's it. Breakaway is done. Le Havre is now the lead rider. Haas is going to take over. Okay, we've re-split the field. It's at 45. Le Havre. Try to break toe. Can you see us get away? Oh, almost. They didn't give us the credit. That was definite separation, but Le Havre, okay, he's done. Haas didn't last very long in his role. 13K to go, by the way. And here come the late chargers, and Haas is done. That's allowing this guy up front to actually gain some separation, so we don't want that. 10K. And there is undulation through here. Pull right back up towards that guy. Front 43. Haas nearly done. Le Havre is done. Now it's a front 35. As Vashek. Vashek was not a leader. That was another race I was seeing. I suppose Bagarov is done, so Lee's going to have to push on. 3 guys, 7K. And you can see how weak we are compared to a World Tour level group, because this is draining them very quick. They can't sustain it for long at all. I mean, 90 is not that big of an effort. It should not be blowing these guys up, but it is. It's very much blowing them up. They're covering a lot less kilometers than I'm used to getting. And we're down to one hill. One hill remains. 4.3K. Gel. Here we go. Lee has got us in a good position. Rhodes giving everything he's got. This is that last climb, so Lee, let's go, Lee. He's still sprinting. Rhodes somehow still going. Van Gessel, Johannesson, but you can see these guys are done. Lou leading us out. Yamamoto, let's go, boys. Let's go. Push for that line. Yamamoto's through. He's going to have the race lead. We got the stage win. And we've got separation of 10 to 11 seconds here before Archibald comes in. It is classified punchy stage. That should be enough of a gap to get it. But, yeah, you know this game. They never give it when we're the one who win by 11 seconds. Well clear of everybody else. Lou also manages to finish 4th, by the way. And Lee coming in at the tail end of this group. Now, that second to, through Lee, those guys should be same time. These 3 should be coming in on their own time with Bagarov coming in. Those groups should definitely be seeing separation, but does Yamamoto get separation? He's going to at least get 10 seconds for the stage victory. It's like I've played this game before or something. Yamamoto, who gets well clear of the pack at the finish line, does not get what he earned, but he does get the stage win. So he gains 10 seconds instead of 21, which is, it's total bullshit, but it's how the game is. It's how the game has been for many years, and I saw it coming. But we do get the separation from Lee to Gisbert. And, those 3 random guys who came across, and then the group behind them that was well off the back of them and nowhere near in contact. Those were 3 guys that were dropped from the front group. They all end up getting same time. So the same thing happens a little bit further down as those guys get a big gift. They only lose a minute. But a minute's enough to be out of contention. But Yamamoto was 24 seconds down to someone who had been picking up bonuses in sprints, and it's very possible they still could have been around today, as this punchy stage really wasn't that punchy. It was just the pace, the effort that was going into the entirety of the stage that took its toll. That wouldn't have been enough anyway, as Lund had enough time in hand that even with the 11 seconds, we'd be 3 seconds down in second place. But that's where we would need to be heading into the final stage to go grab those last few seconds we needed to get him out of the picture with Yamamoto. Now, Yamamoto only sits in 3rd and is 14 seconds down, so even if he goes and wins, again, the final stage, he's going to have to gain time some other way, but the game doesn't like to give you the time that you've picked up. Lu on the front of the regular timings in 8th place, and we're down to 20 guys left in contention. Younggu Lee also at that group that is 24 seconds down. Well, it was not just a good day for Yamamoto. We go and claim a stage victory in our highest profile race that we've participated in, but Lutsenko, and here's the thing about our goal, our objective with this, it doesn't have to come from me. It can happen externally. We can develop somebody and then not afford them anymore and have them go off to another team as long as they still find success there. That's what's important. But of course, the guy in Asia currently, right, in real life, is Lutsenko. He is absolutely the strongest rider in Asia. As we were just looking at his profile earlier in this episode, he's not even the strongest. Yamamoto is, well, similar. He's still got a bit of an edge over Yamamoto, but not by much. But anyway, Lutsenko has presumably won a stage at the Giro, and that has boosted the Kazakhstani profile by another point. So popularity up to a 6, which is good because that's the nation that we can really kickstart things with. We can, because it's already got the higher training profile. If we can get the popularity up in Kazakhstan, which it started the game as a 3, it's now a 6. I didn't see where those first couple of points came from, but I strongly believe that Lutsenko picked up those points as well. But if, before he's done, if we can get that up to a 7 or an 8, well, then we're going to have a lot of riders coming out of Kazakhstan that, yes, right now they're not overly fond of wanting to sign with our team, as we saw. Right? The dossier cost, the interest levels are very low from riders from Kazakhstan. If we crack Continental Pro, we raise our profile, dossier cost goes down, interest goes up a bit, and we can start getting easily the young, high potential Kazakhstani riders to sign for our team. And then eventually you get your access to the best guys coming in. And there's going to be more Lutsenkos when there's higher popularity and already a good training profile. The trick for us is, first getting access to Kazakhstan, and we're getting close to that, and I think Continental Pro will really make that possible. But then the second trick is getting that performance to start boosting the super prestige and trying to see that training profile raise. And then it becomes a little bit of like a pyramid type scheme for us, right? We've got Kazakhstan at the top of that pyramid where we have the kind of guys that are going to get good enough to get us into World Tour and be able to perform. And that's where, with support, you can go out and have a Yamamoto succeed, and you can go have some Chinese riders that are good enough. And if they start picking up good super prestige points because, well, A, they're competing at a much higher level with support, and probably with some support of the Kazakhstani riders at some stage, you can manipulate things your way to start boosting those key nations that have plenty of riders but not very good training structure. But somebody's got to emerge as a good talent occasionally. You support them right, they're going to score enough points, and then you can slowly start picking up the training structure there. I think there is a path. There is a path. I'm seeing some of the comments say there's no way, it's not going to happen, it's not going to grow, it's not going to change. It's possible. It's possible. There just has to be a method to the madness, and it could take a long time, which is why we are trying to roll through some seasons to make things happen. But this is a good start. Stage win for Yamamoto. We're in a good place. One stage to go. And now Lutsenko picks up another point for Kazakhstan. And entering the final stage, we have a plus 28 race day condition, which is a couple better than the expected. And you never know with 4 plus 5s that it might have been even higher. So we've had a really good draw today, which is nice. And Yamamoto's got his plus 5. The support guys, the other ones that were up there and in contention, they've got their plus 5s. So I do feel we can be aggressive today and see, what we can do. Now, there's not as much rolling on your way in towards the finish, but you do have that climb 7K before the finish line. It wraps up 7K before the finish line, starts at about 10K out, or about 9K out anyway. interesting profile for the end of this one, and not much, in that lead up to split the field up. So it's really got to kind of come down to just going flat out on that last climb, on that last 10K or so. So you got to get your sprint train prior to the 10K to get out front, and then when we hit that climb, just push and see if we can't kind of split off the field. Well, anyway, the break, as we're already into the later stages of this thing, cruising for now, is was 5 riders, and one of them has fallen off. Is he going to regain contact? For now, the gap's starting to grow. Looks like he's lost, so it's going to be down to 4 riders. They have a 3.5 minute advantage. Catching them with 58K to go, not going to be easy. It's going to require a lot of tempo, but that's going to set the field up to be fresh. That's the downside here. The field is going to be very fresh at this stage with 50K to go, and yes, we are chasing those guys hard, but with 245 and this, like I said, the lengthy descent we're on right now as we drop down towards this bridge, the fatigue's going to come. They're going to start pushing it out now, but you can see we're not blinking red on the 77. My domestiques, their heart rate's a little bit higher, but it's not bad. It's going to be hard to split this field up. It's going to be much harder to split this field up. So I'm not too encouraged about where we're at, what we're doing right at this point in time. We do get the break down to under a minute, but that's world-class, world tour type riders, so they've got weaker ratings. 18K, it's almost time to form up that train. $15.7. Start with a 99, but we're not going to stay there. Bring it down to about a 94. Can't sustain that for very long. Remember, these are not the World Tour guys. They can't handle the tempo, as we saw last time, right? We were pushing about a 90, and it just decimated our guys really quick, but we made it work. Okay, we brought in the breakaway very quickly because this sort of tempo is just not being set by anybody. We have to gel up a bit earlier. That's one thing I got to remember, keep in mind. There's the last little thing resembling a hill before we get into the final climb. We've got a sprint point coming up. And we split off the field. We had separation. I got distracted with Yamamoto attacking. We picked up 3 seconds, folks. So now he's only 11 down. But separation would still be a thing. Mispa is attacking. Can't attack. Bagarov can. It's only 900 meters. We get enough guys between us. We can maybe split the field again. Bagarov is done. Okay, we just split off the field now. 22 guys. Haas. Follow. Mispa's too far back. Bagarov's too far back. Put those 2 on auto. Or if anything, you know what? They can still follow. They can still follow. This is supposed to be an attack, right? You're sitting up, man. You're sitting up. And these guys easily caught up to you. He's not attacking at all. This is weak sauce. Weak sauce, you guys. Quit showing me how you are Continental riders and nothing more. I have just go. It's too late. Comes Lou and Yamamoto again. Lou. Follow. Let's go, Yamamoto. Let's go. Let's go. There is separation. Will they give us time? Yamamoto back-to-back stage wins, and there is separation. We're talking already 13 seconds, and then another 6. Here's the next group. There's the race leader, number 91. Lund Anderson. He's half a minute down, and there was clear separation. But we had clear separation before. Didn't get it. Yamamoto picks up 13 seconds. So at the very least, he is in second place. Twice we have gained the separation that should be there. Last time we didn't get it. Will we get it this time? It would be an overall victory if we get what we earned, not once but twice. Same time, all the way down to 48th. We keep doing what's necessary again and again. Nothing you can do but keep doing what you're doing. But the funny thing is, the moment the roles are reversed, they give the gap. They always give the gap when you're on the roles reversed. Oh, not always. Vast majority of the time, though. Vast majority of the time. When you're on the losing end of it, the gap's given. When you go out and you win and you get separation and you win clear and you've got a gap, and the top 6 should have had separation. Le Havre was well behind, and then Auler was a bit further behind that. I wouldn't be surprised if they got same time as Le Havre, as they definitely closed the gap up on him. By the way, for those who haven't played PCM for a long time, a couple of years ago, it was finally like one of the big new features, or, well, it wasn't a new feature, one of the big things, one of the big announcements about, I think it was PCM20, was they had finally addressed this. They had finally addressed the gaps. And on release, they had. But it was flawed. They did an update, and they just rolled it back. They just rolled it back to the old system. And here we are a couple of years later without any further changes. It's still here in the same format. Yamamoto's going to finish second. 1 second down. He won this race, but he's not going to get credit for it. Second is still really good. Back-to-back stage wins was phenomenal for Masaki Yamamoto. Hell of a race. Really impressed with what he managed to do here and his best results. Look at what he has managed to do in these couple of races. Tour of Norway, points winner, 2 stage wins, first in the GC. It's definitely raising his profile, which used to show up on this screen. It doesn't anymore. Can't see it anymore. So we don't know how popular he is from here. Apparently Yamamoto's not even our most popular guy. It's Abdul. So we're not even seeing what his level is, but they're happy either way. It could just be an alphabetical thing of a certain threshold that I might have multiple riders above and beyond. We are still continental, so it doesn't take a lot of popularity, a lot of being renowned to please the sponsors. So therefore, I guess we are where we're at when it comes to this one. With that result, with those 2 stages and second in GC and the points victory, Yamamoto crashes the top 10 of the Continental rankings and cracks the top 100 in the Super Prestige. That alone isn't going to do it. It's going to take a lot more than that to raise the training profile, but hey, we're making some progress. I'll take it. There's good signs. We've got a team that can now compete. We've got a team that should have just won one of those 4 key races, but considering he took second, we still don't know if you could get the job done from these 2HC level races. It's the highest profile stuff we've had, but multiple stage wins don't do it. The overall may do it. Otherwise, our only path forward is through World Tour races. That means we have to be Continental Pro just to get the occasional invite to there. That's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. And bye for now.